Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Sunday to everyone. Today's special I'm gonna do is the butternut squash. Beautiful, delicious, magnificent vegetable to eat and to grow into your garden. In a moment, I'll take you on a tour through the garden and give you some information on the butternut squash, a very interesting plant. But there is a lot involved to it. It's not an easy plant to grow, but once you get the hang of it, it doesn't do too bad. But it does require work and attention, love, care, just like any other plant. But it is an absolutely fantastic tasting vegetable, fruit, whatever you want to call it. It's got seeds, makes it a fruit. So, with any further ado, it has several challenges and cares that I'd like to discuss before we take the tour. One of the challenges is the heat. Right now the heat is sweltering. It's probably at least 94 degrees right now. You can see the sweat just pouring off of me. Yeah, so the plants, obviously, suffer from the heat and they burn up and dry up. So as a result, they're gonna require watering pretty regularly. We've also got the honeybee situation, which I seem to discuss in all my planting videos. The honeybees are very important to me. We need them. We need them desperately to pollinate the plants. I'm having to self-pollinate my plants because I can't find a honeybee around. I don't know where they are. So I am forced to pollinate the plants myself. That's not my job. That's the bee's job. And people are using pesticides and killing the bees. So I'm gonna preach it again that I can't stress enough to use all natural pesticides like neem oil to prevent from killing the honeybees. We need them. They're not an attacking bee. They sting you one time and they die. So, if they're gonna sting you, it's gonna be for a really good valid reason because they only got one shot. So for the most part, they're not gonna bother you. They may seem scary because they sting, but they're actually quite mellow, and the only thing they're concerned with is collecting pollen and making honey. And we like honey and we like pollen in regards to fertilizing or feeding, mating the plants, the vegetables and flowers. So we need our honeybees. Leave them alone. Give them peace. As I just mentioned, pollinators, our lack of pollinators, again, due to pesticides. These challenges also incur mildew and fungus due to humidity and overwatering. So you want to be very careful. We can't control the humidity that's around, but we can control the watering that we put and the times that we do it. If you're going to water your plants, make sure you water them once the sun has set below about 2 hours before sunset. Once the sun has reached a certain level in the sky, so I'd say roughly about 2 hours before sunset is a real good time to do your watering, because you can cool off the leaves, you could water the plants, you can do all that stuff without, like in the middle of the day when the sun will burn the leaves. But yet at the same time, you don't want that water sitting overnight where it can collect fungus and mildew and things like that. That's going to kill your plant. So do your watering, about 2 hours before sunset. These butternut squash require a lot of care. When it rains, after it rains, you need to go out and wash them off and clean them off like you do your car. You don't want the dirt to get onto the leaves, because if the dirt gets on the leaves, again, fungus, disease splashes up on there, and that's not what you want. So after it rains, check your plants, and that goes for all of them. And whether they're tomatoes, squash, I don't care what they are, check them for dirt and give them a light rinsing. Get the dirt off of your plants. If you can, try to get some mulch on the ground to prevent as much dirt as possible from splashing up onto your plants. Fertilize them at their proper times. I usually do it like the beginning of planting to already kind of get the soil pre-prepped, and then I just kind of keep an eye on my plants as need, and if they look like they're hungry, I'll go ahead and add a little bit of fertilizer. The number that I use is 15, 30, 15. 15 being nitrogen, the other two are potassium and phosphorus. And they seem to be pretty strong. They keep my plants green, but yet they got my plants just firing out flowers and making fruit. And that's what the 30 and the 15, the last two numbers on the fertilizer mean. So you know, don't focus so much on the first number, high in nitrogen. That makes your plants green. That's great if you're growing bushes, but you're not growing bushes, you're growing fruit and vegetables. So look for those second and third numbers. Again, I use 15, 30, 15. That's what I recommend. That's my suggestion in regards to fertilizing. Keep your fruits off the ground. So for instance, growing butternut squash, I put little plates underneath the squash as they grow to keep them off the ground, and as they continue to grow, I'll change the plates to bigger plates. Again, I don't want them to get dirty. I don't want them to rot because they're laying on the ground. So you want to keep them off, lift them up off the ground, and in a moment as we take a tour, you'll see exactly what I mean by that process. You're going to need to, due to our lack of bees, again, you're going to need to self-pollinate. As we go through this tour, I'll show you the process of the self-pollination. Let's see. General weeding, you want to keep your garden clean, so you know, as you're out working about, you know, whenever so often you see some weeds or whatever, pick them out and throw them to the side so that your garden doesn't get overgrown with weeds. It can tend to hide some bugs and other problems, so you want to keep your garden looking clean, neat and tidy, and try to keep it as weed free as possible. Mine's got weeds. I need to do that, but I do that in the upcoming week. I don't do that on Sundays, but I'll be tending to mine as the week progresses. And then there's the weekly neem oil treatment. It's an all-natural pest control neem oil. Okay, I highly recommend it. It's a pest control in regards to both insects and fungus and bacteria. I highly recommend it. Squash are very prone to getting powdery mildew. They're prone to getting squash bugs. Squash are prone to getting everything. They just literally go under major attack by everything and anything that can set up against them. Your defense is neem oil, and neem oil works great on all of your plants. It keeps the bugs away from them. It keeps the mildew and the mold away from your plants, and it's all natural. That's the key thing. So I highly recommend neem oil, and do it once a week. Don't do it as need, because if you do it as need, it's too late. They've already invaded, they've killed your stuff, and by the time you realize it, it's already done. So don't wait. Spray it once a week. Once a week, neem oil on all your plants and vegetables. That will prevent any issues. Because it's oil, I highly recommend doing it in the evening time when the sun is set. because you don't want it to burn your plants because there's an oil. So again, I do it in the evening time, a couple of hours before sunset, maybe right even at sunset. I'll spray the neem oil on. That way it sits overnight, and then the next morning and daytime I don't have to worry about it hurting the plants. And I've had great success with that this year. In years past, I would use neem oil, but I would treat it as need, and that was my biggest downfall, because by the time I realized I had an insect infestation, the damage was already done, whether it was those squash bugs or whether it was aphids. I don't care what kind of bug it was, from the teeniest of bugs to the biggest of the ugliest bugs. Once a week, make it a ritual. That will protect your plants and keep them free from mildew, and it'll keep them free from bugs. That's the great thing about the neem oils. Not only does it work on bugs, but it also works on mildew. So that's just, it's a fantastic product. I am very, very happy with it. Easy to find too. It's in the garden section of Home Depot, Walmart, any of those places. Probably Walmart's your better bet. It's cheaper at Walmart, but neem oil, that's the way to go. Your plants for butternut need to go through what they call a curing process as you harvest them. That curing process takes 7 to 10 days. They need to be kept in a warm, dry area in darkness, and keep them until they become firm and hard. When it comes time for harvesting, you want to make sure that the skin is dry and hard, and you want to flick it. It should sound hollow. Not sure if you can hear that, but kind of like a hollow sound, like a watermelon, like you're checking a watermelon. And then when you cut it off of the vine, leave a little bit of the nub up there. Don't cut it like right so close. This one's cut even too close. You really ideally should leave about like an inch or two of a nub when you're cutting it. But this is a store-bought. This isn't from the garden. This is a store-bought butternut squash. But leave about an inch or two up at the top. It's better. You're gonna need to let this fruit cure. Again, you're gonna keep it in a warm and dry area. Oh, this breeze feels absolutely fantastic. Cure it by keeping it in a warm and dry area, temperature ranging around 75 to 85 degrees. A duration again from about 7 to 14 days. Turn them periodically. Keep evenness as it's curing, and you know the process is complete when the skin becomes very hard. It's not going to be like a green squash or a zucchini squash where they're kind of soft. The process is complete once that this has become hard, and the color will deepen. And as I go through the tour of the garden in a moment, you'll understand what I mean by the deepening of the color. This beige color compared to what's actually sitting over in the garden right now is a very big difference. It's an amazing difference, and the transformation is quite amazing. So we'll see that in just a moment as we tour the garden in a few moments. And again, storage, once you've harvested your fruit and after they've cured, storage, you want to keep it in the cool, dark area in your house at around 50 to 75 degrees. So you can leave them sit out at room temperature if you like, or you could store them in the refrigerator if you like. Either way, whatever your preference may be. the reason we cure, the benefits, is it lasts roughly 2 to 3 months, this butternut squash. So that's one reason why that you want to cure the plant, the benefit of curing this particular fruit. It also protects it from rot and damage, because that skin gets pretty hard. It enhances the flavor. It extends the storage time, and but note, don't over cure. So once you hit that 7 to 14 day mark, go ahead and put it in your fridge, or put it in the cupboard, to wherever it is that you plan on storing it. Avoid direct sunlight. Don't let it sit in the sun. Again, keep it in your house, keep it in the refrigerator, keep it in your kitchen counter, but keep it out of the direct sunlight. And then check it periodically for rot, because sometimes these things just go bad, and there's really not a whole lot that you can do about that. Now there's a traditional Jewish blessing that I like to state. As always, and on my hashtag, I pray for your plants. I'm a firm believer in praying for your plants. You pray for your plants just as you pray for each other. People, plants, animals, we pray for all of those things. But people tend to neglect, when they don't talk about it. They might do it and don't talk about it. I've never really heard anybody talk about it, but I think it's highly necessary to pray for your plants. But there's a traditional Jewish saying, and it says, "Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, who creates the fruit of the vine." So God is the creator of all things. God made this fruit for us. He made this for us to eat. And for this fruit, we thank you, God, and we bless you in Jesus' name. Now, we're going to take a tour of the wonderful garden. And let's see here. We can get that little selfie stick down here and get it under a little bit of better view. But as I'm focusing down, I'm focusing on a white thing that's laying down on the ground. That is a squash that I pollinated last night. I need to get my paper real quick, because I got a really super bad memory. And let me just throw this out there right now. The male part of the plant is called the stamen, and the female part is called the pistil. And right now, what we're looking at is a female butternut squash. Okay, this little section right there is the pistil. That's the female section. Now, last night I pollinated this plant, and the way the process goes is, as you can see, there is a butternut squash that is growing from there with a flower attached to it. Now, as I continue through the garden, you'll notice that here I have a flower stub, but there's no fruit attached to it here at the bottom of it. There's no fruit there. So this one is a male. Now I'm going to try to see if I can find a male that's maybe partially open, to show you what it looks like, but I'm not finding it. But But that's the female part. That's the pistil right there, and there's the butternut squash. And basically, what I do is I got another one growing down there. I don't even know if I pollinated that one. I just now am seeing this guy right here. I don't know that he's been pollinated. Huh. So I'm gonna have to go to the fridge and get a male and come back and pollinate that guy right there, because I didn't see him earlier. So that's pretty cool. But trying to see if I can find a male around that might be, well, basically what happens is this flower opens up in the same manner as this flower does, and basically you just put it inside there, and the pollen that's inside of this flower will go inside of this flower. It then becomes fertile, and then it then develops fruit. That's how the process works. It's very easy, but it is time consuming, and again, it's something we shouldn't have to be doing. This is the bee's job. It's not the people's job. I actually got a lot of fruit growing down there. There's one growing there, and there's one growing there. There's a lot of them. Here's one growing there. Everywhere there's a little white plate is a fruit that's growing. One of the first ones right here. That's a really good size one right there. He's good size. He's growing nicely. Here's a male. Here we go. Okay, it's our lucky day. It's our lucky day. We got a male, and I found the female that's over here hiding, and we are going to give her a little bit of pollination. So I'm going to try to stand this up. I don't know how well this is going to do, but we're going to find out how well this is going to do. Let's see. Let's see if I can even find her first. All right. So, what I do is I will peel off the flower itself. And at this point here, I don't know if I'm in the camera. Here I am. There is the male part of the squash. That is the stamen. That's the thing that carries the pollen that's about to go into the female squash that I just found. Now the female squash is down here at the bottom, hidden. I don't know if you could see this on camera, but I am basically going to tear her little flower apart, no pun intended, and I will go ahead and insert this in there, pollinating the flower. My biggest challenge are the ants. I don't know if you're able to see this, but the biggest challenge are the ants. So here's what I'll do. Get the camera a little closer in there, put all the pieces together. And so right here is the male section. So I'll go ahead and I'll knock it out of the way. And then right there is the female section, and that's how I self-pollinate these plants. My biggest challenge with these plants are the ants, because the ants, they absolutely love to eat the pollen. They don't destroy the plants, but they are destroying or eating all of the pollen. They like the sweetness of it, so they're stealing the pollen. I have to get out early in the morning, otherwise they will steal my pollen. I'm gonna put another white plate underneath of that one right there. Everywhere that you see a white plate, this squash right here, he's turning kind of yellow. I don't know what his story is. I don't know if he's supposed to turn yellow like that, if he's ripening early or if he's going bad. But everywhere you see one of these little white plates is where I have a squash that's resting. This one's a little teeny one. He's a little tiny little baby guy right there. I'll move the pot over here a little bit, that way it doesn't fall on the ground. But here's one that's gonna need to be pollinated tomorrow. Right there. See that flower that's about to open up? So that will open up by tonight. So that will be pollinated and ready to go and start growing and getting big. It's already got a good sized fruit on it, but that fruit will just simply fall off and die if it doesn't get pollinated. So it's highly important that it get pollinated. But again, everywhere you see a plate is where you see a fruit. Here's a pretty good sized one right there. That one's really nice. I'm proud of him. But of course, this big chubby guy over here, he's my all-time favorite. This guy right there, he's my all-time favorite. He's number one. He's number one. He's the first one. So, but anyway, that concludes our little tour of the squash garden. I hope you all enjoyed the video, and we'll be seeing you around soon. Hopefully the next time I give an update on the squash, these things will be a lot bigger, and they'll be changing to that ready to harvest and changing to that brown color. So I'm excited to see how they turn out. This for me is the first year that I've ever successfully been able to get butternut squash this far along. So we'll see how further along the road I can get them to grow, hopefully to completion. I'm praying for my plants. I'm praying for completion, that they will make it to the point that I'll be able to enjoy them with my family and friends. So anyway, I hope everybody has a good rest of the weekend and a good week coming up, and we'll be seeing you around soon. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe and share with your friends and hit the like button and all that good happy stuff. It's greatly appreciated. So again, have a great weekend, and we'll be seeing you soon. Bye bye.